Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. This is Randy. Was that a little intense? This is Randy.
This is Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? I was maybe overcompensating because I was like, oh, hurry up. Like, the music's ending. I need to switch tabs back over here. Stop sharing on Facebook. Okay.
I'm totally ready. I'm fine.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right.
I totally didn't just forget everything I had to say. Hey, welcome to the show. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Peripheral. It's like Westworld, but VR and more Cowboys. More Cowboys.
Who knew?
Yeah. Also, some other things we watched and some other stuff, like we do.
Yeah.
But first, how are you two doing?
I'm okay.
I'm good.
We got the energy tonight.
Yeah.
If you're thinking Randy's got the energy tonight, that
You
was
just
the energy.
wait. Yeah. You come for Randy's energy. You stick around for awkward pause.
Awkward pauses and vacant space. Wow. That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yep. Every single buck.
First episode of 2023. Coming up on our anniversary, and despite what I said last week, we have not been doing this for 13, 14 years. I don't know what I was thinking. We're coming up on our 9th because we started in 2014.
How long have you been doing podcasts, though? Is that what you were thinking?
It's been closer to like 11, 12. Yeah, it's 12,
So close.
13.
You were closer for you
Right.
than for us.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you were thinking.
I think so.
Yeah.
But we've been doing this for a while. I was also thinking, I was like, how long have we been doing the live streams? About 2 years or so. It's like, man, that 7-year itch really hit us, didn't it? Hey, guys, what have you been watching? Or reading?
I've
or
been
consuming?
watching Randy descend into madness tonight.
It will continue.
I don't think I've been watching anything besides Peripheral.
Okay.
I've been reading that book I talked about last week.
Right.
Did I talk about it on the stream?
I think you did a bit. Yeah. You
Okay.
talked about it,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, at the beginning.
Yeah, and
like
then I
this.
sent you guys some crazy videos, the
Yep.
videos I watched, right?
Right.
And yes, I've been reading that, doing some of the meditations. I have
Non-dualism
gone
stuff?
the what?
Non-dualism stuff?
Non-dual, yes, non-dual shamanism.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have journeyed to the edge of the forest of the inner world, and I have visited the grove of wisdom or something.
Okay.
Something like that. So I've done that so far. It's great. You guys should try it.
So what you're going to say is Jesse's going to get very strange in the future. We've been
Y'all
doing
thought
this,
I wasn't already.
I think we've been doing this show long enough that you could pinpoint like different periods, like when Jesse was going through his, there's the turning cartwheels period of like,
Oh, yeah.
The kind of, I don't know what's that called? I don't know what that's called.
Toxic positivity.
Toxic positivity. That's
It's
a great
just like,
example.
No, everything's fine. It's fine.
And then there's the period of like, I'm just living my life, not my best life, just life.
I'm alive. My heart is still going. So
And now we're
whatever.
now we're journeying into the center. What did you just say?
It was a grove of wisdom or something. I mean,
Oh.
I'm at the edge of the forest of the inner world, and
Jesse's
then
descending into the green.
Yeah, that's what I was totally what I was thinking.
there you go. Yeah, I'm a meat swamp thing before this is over.
I heard
That's
like,
really the whole thing. Like none of the rest of it matters. Like we're swampy.
we're swampy.
We're swampy in all this.
You said you're gonna meet swamp thing, but what I heard was like, I'm a meat swamp thing. It's like, ew.
Well, I am meat. So there we go.
I kind of like that. I'm like swamp thing except meat,
Yeah.
and I have
Meteor.
no powers. Meteor. Well, good.
So that I've been doing that, and then
Okay.
I read what besides the Peripheral and the things that we've kind of chatted about before. I just got done watching the Meghan and Harry thing
So is that the
Netflix.
thing? That's the documentary that's like, is it produced by them or they have like some actual direct involvement?
Yeah.
And the royal family's like, whoa, you're excommunicated or whatever.
Yeah, and I guess Holly was telling me that even Oprah is kind of like, oh, hold on. I was like, I don't know, but I don't really know a lot about Meghan and Harry other than I know it was a big deal. Like it was a big deal in the first place. People weren't very nice, and then they were like, you know what? Peace out.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're living our best lives.
This is all the Crown's fault.
It is. I think it is, to a certain degree, and then it's funny because this most recent season of The Crown is kind of about Diana and then the Martin Bashir interview that she did, which kind of started escalating things and right up before her untimely end. Right. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like I imagine the next season is probably the end of the show is what I heard. And it's basically going to end with Diana's death, I believe.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
If I heard correct. So, So yeah, now this is almost like, well, here's our opportunity to do the same thing. We're going to do our Martin Bashir thing, but we're going to produce it.
Right.
And we're only about an episode and a half in, so I don't know where this documentary is going to go. But at this point, it's just like heartbreaking. It's just like, man, here it is. The Crown just ruining people's lives. It does not pay to be a prince or a princess or whatever. Just no.
Well, man, who gets paid then? Because nobody else wins with the whole deal either.
Yeah. I think they get to be rich. I think that's the only part of it that
they don't get
anyone
paid. They
likes.
just get to be rich.
You just get to be rich. Everyone can say whatever they want about you, and it can be horrible, but you're rich.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Well,
I think that's like every celebrity, though, especially now.
Yeah.
Everybody can say whatever they want about you, and it's horrible, but you get to be rich.
You get to be rich and famous.
There's a lot of people
That's
will be
it.
like, okay.
I'm in.
yeah.
Yep.
I'll try
I'm in.
I'll twist my arm. Yeah, but I mean, like, well, I can't imagine. Like, especially to this degree now that social media is such a thing.
Right.
You think about what if the Princess Di thing happened in the age of social media, and it was like such a big deal back in the day, and I didn't care, and so I didn't have to ingest it. But like now, like the Johnny Depp thing of the last summer is like, try not to pay attention to that.
The Johnny Depp thing kind of subverts what I was about to say, because I was going to say, I bet it would have been huge, but it would have played out, at least people's fascination would have played out much faster, because I feel like that's news cycle, much faster. The Johnny Depp thing is almost brilliant on, I'm assuming, Johnny Depp's behalf, because drawing, not that he like drew it out that long, but that court hearing being so drawn out and so consistently just bonkers. That's got to be
kind
like
of
one
in
of
his
the most
favor almost the whole way.
Yeah. That's got to be one of the like longest ongoing internet obsessions that has been for a while.
Right.
Other than like, anything political, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like since OJ or something,
Oh, imagine OJ now.
When was the last big televised court case besides
Right.
OJ?
Right. Yeah, anything that I think hit that kind of like public zeitgeist, mainstream, for whatever reason, appeal. Like I resisted it, and then I was in it, man. I was in it.
I know. Yeah. Well, once it hits meme status, good luck. You kind of
Right.
what is this now?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You kind of have to. That's how the internet works. Like in order to really keep up on some of the memes, it's been a little slow lately, it seems, but in order to really keep up on some of the memes, you have to keep up on like internet current events.
Right.
Because like the Johnny, like that whole thing, the memes started flowing before I was like, what? So what's going on? You know?
Well, the Amber Heard thing became like a TikTok trend where she was doing that whole thing about like, I don't know, like bees, and then she just is like a weird almost tick,
Yeah.
and like people just made that a whole thing, and it was just like what can I rhyme and then make a weird face?
Make a face.
Yeah.
There were compilations on YouTube, of course, because that's how I watch
Right.
my TikTok.
Sure, yeah, that's how. Yeah, any self-respecting human does.
You're right. And more so than some, man, I found it so cringy. Like some of the like TikToks, like just at first you're like, okay, and then I think maybe in compilation form is the worst way to consume a thing like that.
Yeah, no, it's not meant to be done that way. But
Because after a while you're
that's
just
how you
like,
do.
you're all idiots. What are you doing?
Yeah,
This
it
is
really,
funny.
it really hits a fever pitch when you see like 6 of them in a row. You know, like no.
I was gonna
Here's
say I was very amazed myself that Randy didn't know like anything, and I was like, really? I mean, I wasn't following it, but I'm like, I know that she cut off his finger and pooped in his bed. You know, at least that. He didn't know nothing.
This is real life.
I'm
People
glad
act that way. Yeah.
I'm glad I did jump into because, like, you know, I work from home, so I'm home all day. So there were days I wouldn't sit here and watch the court thing all day, but if I was doing something that I could like lend an ear over here or something, I'd have to live stream YouTubers going that were talking about it and stuff. And like, man, I'm glad I jumped in on some of that because it's real life, but that is also not real life. That is not
Right.
how a court
Right.
case goes. There are so many. If it was written, I'd be like, man, I don't know. This is a little over the top. Even the people like, you know, the law tubers or whatever, that
Like
kind of
episodes of She-Hulk make more sense than this.
right.
Yeah.
By the way, you're not watching a replay. It is in fact 2023, and we are talking about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
No, yeah, we're back on it. We're back on it.
That was unintentional. I don't know how we got here, but we're here.
Yeah.
Diana, she brought us there.
Yeah.
right.
Diana and Meghan Markle. Yeah.
Which I'm just in passing. Now they have clothes that they've made that are have reflective materials in them. So if you try to take a picture with flash photography, it whites out the the film, and you can't get a shot.
That's kind of brilliant.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it ruins paparazzi's pictures.
Good for them.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm for it. I would be. I mean, some celebrities, I don't have respect. Like if you're just a celebrity because, like, why? Because I don't know, you're rich or
You have a
you're
big butt.
born into it or something. Like I don't. Whatever. I'm probably not interested in your stuff anyway. So part of it is like, it is that trade-off of like, it's gonna suck a little bit to be that rich or be that famous. But that said, man, I wouldn't want people taking pictures of me all the time.
Me either. I want some of that stuff so that nobody can take pictures of me anytime. I just wear it every day.
No one's trying to take pictures, and I still want it,
Right.
Yeah.
just in case.
Give me some of that magic miracle fabric.
Mm-hmm.
That way when I'm in a family photo, I ruin the whole thing.
Yep. See, that's the best kind of photo bomb.
Oh man, photo bombing people while wearing that to mess up their selfies.
That's
Uh-huh.
pretty good. I like that.
I didn't have a New Year's resolution, but I do now.
Just to get some of that, start photo bombing.
That's right. I want to ruin lives.
It'd be better if it was back in the day before like digital cameras. That way, like they wouldn't even know it until like they went to get
Yeah.
the film developed.
Yeah. They were like, "Aw."
Well, hey, something. I don't have a good segue. We watched a movie on a whim because HBO Max told us to. It was a pop-up on HBO Max, but I did remember the trailer, and I don't know, it just hit me at the right time. I was like, hey, Melanie, you want to watch this movie? And she's like, okay. And I was like, okay, boom. And we're watching the movie. The Menu, which just hit HBO Max, I think. And if you don't know what the menu is, it's I think the trailer, at least the trailer I remember did a good job of like it tells you the kind of basic premise, but you're like, but this is supposed to be like a horror thriller movie? Like where does this go? And I feel like the trailer, at least that I recall, did a good job of like piquing my curiosity without telling you anything. And that's kind of the
Right.
best
You know,
way to
like
watch
something
it.
dangerous is happening.
Right, but you're like, but what? It's people in a restaurant. Like,
And the chef's kind of
or-
creepy.
It's
Right.
not just a restaurant. It's like some super pretentious, like foam type restaurant. I mean, not the restaurant is foam, but like they serve you foam type restaurant,
Right.
and they're like, it's a culinary experience. It's not food.
Right.
right. And the movie's got that kind of added like the opening credits is, I don't remember what studio, but it's like Paramount Pictures invites you to experience the menu. Those are like the opening credits, and I was like, what? Okay, they're going with it. But also like it's that kind of thing where I wouldn't call the movie pretentious because the point of the movie is kind of calling out all the pretentiousness, you know?
hmm
And I just enjoy that kind of thing. It's safe to say there's definitely quite a bit of social commentary to it.
hmm
And I would say, because horror and thriller, like those genres, and I know people like intermix those, like I would still say though this falls into horror territory. What would you say, Melanie?
I don't know that it's really horror, honestly. I don't know that I'd go there. I do think it's more of a thriller. I guess it kind of depends on how you feel about horror, but I always feel like horror needs to have like either it needs to have something either supernatural like or um irrational. And these people, I mean, no, I guess they're irrational. They're irrational, but
Well,
they have like a purpose. You know what I mean? I don't know.
But
I know
does it
this
feel
is,
like a siege kind of thing where it's like you're not allowed to leave? Like a haunted house kind of a situation?
uh,
Yeah.
it is like you're not allowed to leave. It's got a siege thing. It's a very kind of contained movie for the most part. I
hmm
would say though, and I'm in the like losing argument. Generally, people consider Silence of the Lambs a horror movie, but I guess I get it. Like whatever, it's got the villain who's even masked part of the time, scary cannibal guy, but like that never really felt like a horror movie to me. It still has like police procedural and thriller elements, and I know there's serial killers, but this I think in the way when things really start to go sideways, especially like there's like a turning point. I think the way in which it's presented, even though it's not supernatural, still feels like we're going into horror territory to me.
hmm
Um, yeah, but what
Yeah,
were
I
you gonna
guess
say?
so. I can accept that it's horror then. It's just, normally with like slashers, is the thing that I would consider horror that's not supernatural. Um, yeah, like I was saying, it's like they're just nuts and they're going on a rampage, that kind of you're terrified kind of a thing. And this one, I guess maybe it's just a different thing. You know what I mean? But it's still kind of there. It's just more like more of resignation in it, which makes it feel not as frantic or something. It makes it less horror to me, but it is, I guess. I'll accept that it's horror. I've changed my mind. Thank you.
Okay. Um, can I full screen that? Okay. I will say part of I think why I enjoyed it is because I didn't have any particular expectations, high or low. I mean, I was expecting it to be good because I don't know, it looked good. Obviously, I'm not going to just like on a whim start it and expect it to be crap. But I never really knew where it was going at any point in time, which is great. Uh,
hmm
I knew it's got Ralph Fiennes, so you know it's going to be kind of serious.
It's gonna be intense.
Yeah. But it to me it kind of feels like it fits in movies like was it hide and seek? I know we talked about this when we watched it.
Yeah,
a little
hide
bit,
and
Melanie.
seek.
Hide and seek, and a little bit like Knives Out or something like that, where it's ensemble pieces, or like a bunch of people. There's possibly murder, something weird going on, some type of mystery. There's definitely like element of class, of course, going on. But those movies are veer more towards comedy or straight up like mystery or something.
What kind of role did Leguizamo play? I'm always interested in what kind of character he's going to pick up, because
I was super amused.
He's all over the place.
His, at least in the HBO app, his character's name, his character is credited as movie star. And I don't think you ever hear his character's name. He's just a movie star, like a has-been type movie star.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, does that mean he's just going to have a bit role? No, he's like in it, like everybody you see is in it, like through the whole movie, you know? I mean, they're all like kind of major characters. So I feel like a lot of them, some of them have names, some of them don't, but I think the point that he doesn't have a name is also kind of the point.
Yeah. Interesting that he's like a celebrity that everybody knows, and yet
Yes.
we're not going to say his name at all.
Yes.
Interesting.
High recommend. On a gut feeling, which is weird looking, I guess, at some of the other things I've watched recently. I've lucked out and watched a lot of good stuff. Like, I've got a lot of high ratings. I gave this 5 stars, which I was kind of like, really? Okay, I'm doing it. 5 stars.
I'm doing it.
Like, even Glass Onion, I didn't quite give 5 stars, although Glass Onion's great. But maybe it's just not having expectations or not knowing what to expect going into this and just thoroughly not being let down by anything. And I quite enjoyed the ending, actually. So
It's I like what they did with several of the characters too, in that, I mean, I guess maybe you make some of them are sympathetic, but a lot of them aren't. But like, you feel worse for the bad, not even the bad guys. I don't know. Like, they bring humanity to all the people, even the ones that are pieces of crap. You know what I mean?
right.
And I really like when shows do that. So that I really, really appreciated that about this one.
I have a slight segue. This has, what is his name? Let me look at it.
The
Nicholas
one person,
Hoult?
yeah,
What?
the one person that I could argue against what I just said about.
Right. His character's like, this is not to get into almost the most two-dimensional, but still super fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Maybe more fascinating because of like how kind of two-dimensional his character is. But Nicholas Hoult, who nerds would know as Young Beast in the like, I don't know if you'd call him prequel X-Men trilogy.
I don't know what you call him anymore.
The second X-Men trilogy.
As soon as they had the whole like Days of Future Past thing, it was like, I don't even know. I don't even know now. Like,
But,
soft reboot, but not really.
Young Beast.
Young Beast.
Not Kelsey Grammer Beast.
Right.
We can segue with him because I didn't realize he is Renfield. Renfield?
Yeah.
Renfield?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You didn't realize that?
In the upcoming movie that they dropped a trailer for recently, which is a noticeable, mentionable. I don't know. It's unmentionable. Notable. Thank you. For, just a little Dracula Nick Cage is all.
Just a little.
I didn't know what to expect from it. The trailer. Did you watch the trailer, Jesse? I'm assuming you did.
No, I haven't yet. I can't wait.
Oh my God,
I'm
you
so
haven't?
excited. Like a vampire Nick Cage now.
I know.
like I would love to see that. Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to be more vampire than he was in that Kiss of the Vampire, because
He's definitely going to be more Nick Cage.
How long is the trailer? I'm about to say, like, if you want. Brandon, hey, by the way, what's up, Brandon?
Hey-o.
Hey.
Mr. Lapani. He said he's trying to figure out what all the stuff behind Jesse would be a great drinking game.
Sure would. Good luck. Good luck with that one right there.
Well, I see Waterworld Robin Hood. What is his name? I can only think of a couple of the, field it. He's going to build it and they will come.
Kevin Costner.
It's Kevin Costner. That's 3 Kevin Costner movies I can think of before I think of his name.
Yeah.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Waterworld, Field of Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Tin Cup.
The Postman.
Bull Durham. Yeah, the Postman.
The Postman.
He
Backdraft?
dances with wolves.
Oh, yeah.
He is the wolf dancer.
He is the wolf dancer.
He the Postman. That's just how I read it in my head.
He the Postman.
I was disappointed in that movie because I read the book, and you should never watch the movie after you read the book.
Oh, yeah. No, I learned that lesson when I watched Timeline. No.
I don't think I'm familiar with it.
I don't. Yeah.
Michael Crichton, Timeline. It has Paul Walker in the movie, and the book is so good. It's so good, and the movie is so bad.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like probably one of the worst movies.
That sucks.
So, yeah. I don't recommend that one. I do recommend the book.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, he's going to turn the lights on so you can see better.
It doesn't help. There's so
Whitney
much
Houston's
bizarre stuff
bodyguard.
behind me. Like you got a MODOK right next to him, and then you got Wesley Crusher there, and then the Watcher.
Wait, this is
that
cheating.
that helps a little bit.
I can't enlarge it. That's cheating.
Still, what the crud is that? Whitney Houston. Okay, yeah. Now I'm back.
The
I
bodyguard.
caught up on the chat. He's Whitney Houston's bodyguard. Yeah.
Ishtar. I've never watched it, but I know it was a huge financial failure.
Mm-hmm. Robin Hood Men in Tights was so good.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
That's a different.
Carrie Elwes.
Mm-hmm. Way better than the Prince of Thieves.
Yeah. This guy. Come on. As you wish.
So, okay, I really want to do... Melanie,
Yes.
do we have something we can talk about for 2 minutes? Because I kind of want Jesse to watch the trailer for Renfeld.
Okay.
And I want to see his
Oh,
reactions.
okay. You want me to do that?
Yeah, if you want, you can mute yourself if you want, whatever. Oh, you got headphones on. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I kind of do. Just because I think...
Do you want me to like pull it up on my phone and stay on camera?
Oh, if that's how you have to do it, I want you
I mean,
to
I can do that. I can watch it on my phone and then stay on
Okay.
camera, or I can
Do
can stop cam and just watch it. But
No, it don't matter. No, do it on your phone. I want to see
Okay,
your
okay.
face. You know what? We don't even have to talk over it. We're just, hey,
We're just
everybody.
gonna sit in silence and stare. No.
Sit in silence and stare at Jesse. We'll talk a little bit. I just don't
Okay.
want him to be too distracted by it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say tonally, I didn't know what to expect. Like, I had heard about this movie,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, well, Nicolas Cage, like, if the movie's about Renfield, Nicolas Cage isn't even the main character. It's not Nicolas Cage Dracula. It's Renfield. But I don't know, man. The tone of the movie,
Mhm.
I kind of think it might be great.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely got the what do you call it? With Simon Pegg, that one,
Oh, kind of a like Edgar Wright type thing? It's
yeah.
or like Shaun of the Dead
Yes.
vibe or something.
Yes.
It's got a weird. We'll talk more about it. Although April's going to be interesting because I think that's also when Evil Dead Rise comes out,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is also a trailer they just dropped the other day or today or yesterday.
Mhm.
And to be honest, and I don't know what tone that's going to have, but if it's a good Evil Dead movie, I kind of feel like that would also pair with this this Renfield.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm guessing it's a sequel to the newest reboot, whatever, of it. The one with the tongue licking the blade. You know that
think
one?
So? Yeah.
I mean, it looks a little less serious, maybe, but it still looks very similar. So I can see them being in the same, family. And you know, some of the other Evil Deads weren't as serious or as the original, even if that wasn't that. It wasn't
Right.
that, but not necessarily intentionally. You know what I mean? And
Right.
after that, it was intentional. So I feel like maybe it's kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can we guess when? I'm not familiar enough with the trailer to be like,
Uh
I bet he just seen Nicolas Cage pop up and do this.
huh.
We are officially reacting at Jesse's reaction to the trailer.
Oh man. Oh man.
Is that what you were expecting?
I mean, sort of, and also no. Like I don't
Right.
know what I was expecting.
Right.
Because that's perfect.
It takes like a weird. Renfield has these powers, so somebody's basically turned him into a superhero. In a
Yeah.
way. Like I was like, wait, how far are they going to go with that? That's such a weird angle to take.
Like the whole vibe of it too. Like you just did I just watch you chop somebody's arm off with a serving plate, and he's just like, it's holding the wrist.
Right.
What?
Yeah. It
What a
seems
weird campy like vibe.
irreverent. I was expecting maybe just for whatever reason, I guess a serious horror movie. You know, like a
No.
no. It's quite the opposite. Which, I mean, it looks like they're like. Nick Cage, you're gonna be Dracula.
And then
Chew all the scenery. Just
yeah.
whatever.
And why do I recognize like the group therapy leader guy? Is that the guy I think he is? Is it the the tale of the vampire? Is it Andrew from Buffy the Vampire Slayer? He's recognizable to me, but I don't know why.
I don't know. I didn't follow Buffy that much.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Oh, I'm not sure.
I don't know what the character's name is, so of course
Right.
we're just this is good podcasting. We're gonna look it up, but I want to know who that character is because, I'm like, oh, I know him from something.
Like John Wick. Like, what?
What? That guy is?
No. Just like
Oh,
for whatever the like in the club fight scene or whatever it is where he chops the guy's arms off. Like, it just gives me that vibe. Yeah. Anyway, there we go. I want to see it.
Me too.
it looks great.
It kind of does, doesn't it? Still haven't watched Unbearable the Weight of Massive Talent or whatever.
Yeah.
I own it, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Oh,
on that
do
one.
you?
Yep.
I see. I think whatever. I'm cheap. I don't think to like. You can buy it digitally or rent it digitally, but I'm like, that's not available yet. If I see that, I'm just like, I'll wait till it hits a streaming thing. But some company like I don't know, some movies fall into a weird spot where they don't get picked up for streaming till a while after, which is probably smart on them, honestly, but probably make more money that way.
What do I know him from? I know him from something. He's on The Good Place. Oh, okay. That's where I know him from. Okay.
The Good Place?
The Good Place. Yep.
Okay.
Have you guys watched that?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
No.
It's funny.
I've heard that it is.
It's not the guy from Buffy.
Okay.
That's the important bit.
Oh wait, Andrew.
Yeah.
The
The tale of the vampire.
Yeah. Okay.
That's who I thought it was, because it's just kind of his demeanor and whatnot. I was like,
The quirky
no,
guy
no,
who
it's
come
not.
back towards the later seasons and was like a surprisingly major character
Yeah.
throughout for some reason. Probably because everyone was so serious. They're like, we need somebody to be the comedic, relief in this.
And then when they like couldn't get they couldn't get Buffy to come into Angel for the final season, they brought him in
Right.
and made him oddly debonair and grown up.
Those shows are great.
Yeah.
Sure.
Freaking Angel. Huh?
I said sure.
They are. You just don't understand.
Okay.
You got to get invested in it. It takes time.
Yeah, just like joining a cult.
Right.
Right.
We'll send you some videos that will get you into it.
Yeah.
Well, there are no shortage of people talking about Buffy, so it's all good.
Right.
Yeah.
They're all probably a little weirder than anybody else. I don't even know his name. Terrence McKenna. It's actually not a weird name, but
No, it's pretty normal.
he seemed fine. It doesn't say anything weirder than what I edit on a fairly regular basis, so it's all good. In fact, he seems a little more grounded than some of the people I edit sometimes. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
The Peripheral.
Yeah.
That's a 5-star segue right there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey. The
the
Peripheral. Hey, Brandon, you watched The Peripheral? Oh, I don't know if Brandon's still there. He stayed for Jesse's reaction, then he bounced. So this is a show that's on, man, we're the Amazon streaming show now.
Yeah.
And Devil's Hour.
That's too bad because Brandon was the one that was trying to get you on board with Amazon way back in the day.
Right.
Like back before they had like a lot of shows. And you know what? I'm going to have to say it. Brandon was right. Like Amazon's got some quality shows now. It just took them a little longer than I expected.
Right. I mean, right now they're earning points with some of these shows. Like they're totally decent. They haven't necessarily canceled them all yet. Netflix canceled $18.99, which I don't understand. As far as I know, that show was doing really well. Like they were
It's like
advertising
brand
the
new
crap out
too,
of it.
isn't it? Like
It's brand new.
Like how would they even have the data to say, you know what? Nope, it's got to go.
I don't understand how they probably don't know how they make these decisions. It's probably the algorithm. But yeah, no, super irritating because it's one of those shows where if it doesn't like it ending, you know, like Westworld, they canceled that last season, but the way they left Westworld, it's like, I think it's still worth watching. I think it's like they can cancel it there and it's fine. I'm super on the fence about $18.99 though. It's kind of like what was the other one they canceled after one season that I was
Archive
81 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that where it's like, well, that season's a good journey and like you discover a lot, like there's a mystery and you discover most of the mystery, but then it sets up more mystery or more whatever that's like pretty big. Where are they gonna go, you know? And it leaves characters in crazy places. Both shows do. Don't know. They're not going anywhere. So.
And Glow.
Yeah.
They were filming the next season. God, that's so irritating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. Netflix. I used to sing their praises. But the problem with Prime is that it's Amazon.
Yeah.
And I just have a hard time singing Amazon's praises about anything, even if they're Amazon. As a consumer, they do what they're supposed to do. They have lots of stuff you can buy. They have lots of shows you can watch. As a human, I feel like they're probably not good, but
Yeah.
I don't like anyone having that much power.
right, they're Amazon. I mean, we complain about Disney, but Amazon.
Right. I even had that. I actually had that discussion about Disney today, and usually I try to stay out of it, and I stay pretty neutral when we had the conversation. But we were talking about Andy Warhol because Andy Warhol would take popular images and just reproduce them, right? And I was like, I don't know that Disney would let him get away with it today.
Right.
I'm sure they didn't like it back in the day. I don't know a whole lot about that, but like they probably didn't have the power or influence at that time to really make that big of a stink because Andy Warhol was Andy Warhol. You know, like
Right.
Andy Warhol is one of the few artists that's ever had any kind of clout like that.
Right. No, they 100% wouldn't now.
Right.
No, for sure. I mean, Disney's been known to go after like daycares that have
Right.
unauthorized Disney characters painted on their walls, inside. Like, come on, man. Like mom
Yeah.
and pop type daycares? Are you kidding me? Whatever. They're also partially responsible for like public domain things there's a whole bunch of stuff that should have entered into public domain like a decade ago or
Right.
more, but because they didn't want to
Steamboat
let
Willie's
loose
supposed to enter it when this year now, or
I thought so.
we'll see.
I thought so, but 2023 rolled around and that was not amongst the things I'd seen because every year I see a bunch of Google remembers that I look at these articles, right? So they're like, "Well,
Right.
it's that time of year again. Here's a bunch of like what entered into it." And there's a bunch of books and stuff, so I'm sure some Sherlock Holmes books and stuff, so I'm sure we'll see more Sherlock Holmes shows and whatnot. Man, not much like you're finally getting into some of the talkies, like the jazz singer and stuff like that, but not much for movies. And I feel like if Steamboat Willie had slipped into it, we'd hear more about it, but I don't know. Yeah, well, whatever. So
When can we have, we've got Winnie the Pooh, the horror movie. When can we have Steamboat Willie, the horror movie?
by the way, how did the mean one, how did they get away with that? Where that's clearly the Grinch, but it's,
Yeah.
have you seen, I seen, or at least seen anything about this movie? I don't know that it's supposed to be good or whatever. It looks cheap, but it's clearly a Grinch horror movie called The Mean One. Or
I
A
don't
Mean
know.
One or something.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm guessing they danced very carefully on fair use.
Yeah.
And
Right around the periphery, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
See, take note.
So this is a show that Jesse's mentioned several times. He'd been watching. I feel like you've mentioned it on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and it was something that I was curious about because it's the show itself was by the creators of Westworld, which is a great show, and the trailer kind of had a Westworld-y vibe. Although
Yeah.
I was a little worried it'd be more Westworld-y, and it retains like Westworld always had like in its production like a prestige, they always talk about prestige TV or whatever. I feel like it has that quality. It's got that level, but it's sci-fi.
But it also takes part in like a trailer half the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a Westworld clone or anything like that.
Right.
No.
Like it's definitely its own thing. Even if, the music has similar vibe and the look a little bit, but
What if Westworld also included characters from Ozark?
right. Right. It's an interesting and this is going to be our show some of our not anti, but our non-Southern U.S. living bias. We don't live there, and we might carry negative biases unintentionally. But it's such an interesting, to me, it feels like a juxtaposition to have the heavy Southern drawls. One of the main characters lives in it, all the crazy tech thing that happens in the closest to modern day that we get happens in a super gnarly nasty looking trailer. That thing, dude, take a hose to it, wash it off.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's an interesting juxtaposition, and then versus the other main setting, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also based on, what is the guy's name? A book of the same name by William Gibson, who is famously credited as kind of the originator of the cyberpunk genre.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Well,
Which totally makes sense
Yeah.
I think in the themes of this, I can totally see it. Lots of like augmentation.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Like
stuff like that.
now the haptic stuff makes a little bit more sense. It's just
Yeah.
because it was kind of jarring. It was like we had this super crazy tech that's taking us into this pseudo VR realm, right? And you're like, man, this seems way too futuristic. And then you see them link up. You see these like veterans just like link up to each other and to drones and do like a super Call of Duty style like beatdown, you know?
It's hard to like. I don't know how hard we go on spoilers, if at all, on this, because
Right.
that's interesting. Because so the main one, like, I'll say the main characters we follow are in the not too distant future, as in like 2030 something, early
Yeah.
2030,
Right.
and it is mostly like normal times, except there are a few things. And like you said, the haptic stuff still felt out of place and almost like too big of a jump. Maybe slight spoilers. It's like, well, there is actually kind of a reason for that.
Right.
And that seems smart to me. But even where they're at now it still feels like an alternate history without getting into like,
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, even though it's the future, it is an alternate history.
like there's
because
war,
yeah.
but eventually they mentioned like the fighting was in Texas or something, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
Like, whoa.
okay.
Well, and but we know already that it was an alternate timeline because they talked about. Oh, I'm sorry. Never
No, it's
mind.
okay.
We don't know anything.
Ignore me. Okay, we're gonna go spoilers ish. There's gonna be spoilers.
Yeah.
I was super duper vague about the show, pitching it to you guys because I didn't want to mess
Right.
it up. Right. Like, so it's like, it's tough because there's so many elements that's like, that's not really a spoiler, but it is fun. You know, it is a fun revelation. That's what's
Exactly.
cool about the show is there's so many like revelations that build on each other. And then you're like, oh,
I don't feel like spoilers for this would ruin it unless we
Right.
got to. Okay, and I will say, Jesse, you've watched, as far as I know, all of season 1. Seems like there's just the 8 episodes. We've watched 7 of the 8, so we have one more episode to go. But it's not like, I'm not going to drop like, this character dies or something like that. But any other spoilers that I still kind of would, like, ideally go into it knowing as little as possible aren't going to ruin it for you, but it's still fun not knowing until you get the reveal, like you said. I dig the premise, though. I like the premise, and it's one of those things, like, at first I was a little worried because I was like, okay, I get that they're setting it kind of in the future a little bit, but like the VR still seems like, they go in VR, and the VR, it's the regular VR they have is still kind of advanced for what we've got now.
oh yeah. Yeah.
For sure. And just the way they talked, I was worried it was going to go into like, I don't know, Steve Buscemi, writing for the kids, like, hello, fellow teenagers or whatever. Hello, fellow kids.
Hello,
Like,
fellow kids.
Get good, scrub. We're gonna get like some cringy gamer pandering.
Oh yes, right.
But I feel like it doesn't really go there, and not really.
Well, because
I
we
mean,
have like an unlikely protagonist in that. Like she just strikes you from the get-go as like she's really good at this game, surprisingly, and she kind of avoids doing it for whatever reason.
right.
Well, I like it. I like the whole thing in general, but I like that they use it like they're going into these stubs or whatever, which I hate that word, but they're going into these
Right.
stubs, but they're totally not doing it to try and save themselves at all, or at least as far as I can tell, they're just going in it to try and make money or something.
Yeah, I'm not super clear on what the plot is from their side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still am not.
I feel like
I'm
they
like,
don't
there's all
know.
these factions happening, and then like they're sort of skirting around the edge of what's allowed.
Right.
Like, technically, it's not illegal, and technically, I can't do anything about it. But also, it's questionable.
Right, and the amount of power, like especially towards later. Well, fairly early on. There's the one lady, and I can't remember anybody's names, but it's the bald lady who seems to have the most power. Like she could just kill whoever, do whatever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's? And at first, I'm like, okay, well then there's this inspector lady, and you're like, okay, another person with just a ton of power, but not as much power as the other lady, as the bald lady. I know these vague whatever, but
And then you got your original lady who's like a Matrix level rebel.
Right. The point is, like, there are different factions, and then they also kind of like, in the most confusing way, while at the same time acting like they're, the whole toast scene, acting like this is like a super simplistic. What would you call it? Analogy for their like political system or whatever it is. But at the same time, the way they talk, it's like, what? So they have 3 branches of government or factions or whatever, and I have no idea how they like relate to each other and who has authority over what. It's very confusing in that respect. Maybe intentionally so. Or there's just too many accents going all the time.
There really is a lot of
wildly
accents.
Different accents.
Yeah. You have like the Asian Irish
right
thing going on, and it's like,
and sometimes,
I don't know what's
they're
going on here.
encoded. Yeah,
and
sometimes they're coded in Pig Latin.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That they speak in that whatever language. Does that, if you watch it on Amazon, does that have subtitles?
Yes.
Okay,
when those two are speaking.
Oh, so you don't know what they're saying. You weren't
No, we
able
don't
to
know.
say. Oh,
No.
whoa.
Yeah.
No, it's got subtitles, and they're talking to each other. Yeah.
I was just like, we'll pick it up. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You're
We'll feel
just
it out.
immersing yourself in a fictional encrypted language.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like, hey,
All right.
if we're supposed to know, there'll be subtitles. Which I've made that mistake before.
Nope.
If we're supposed to know, there will be subtitles.
Yeah.
Oh, there's supposed to be subtitles.
Yeah. You're supposed to know what they're saying.
Uh,
It's super crazy. Like in that one point where the one guy or gal knows exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Right. I enjoy the characters. I think the characters are pretty well done and interesting.
I kind of hate the sheriff's face, or not the sheriff, the deputy, whatever.
The deputy
Yeah.
or whatever he is. They're
Yeah.
her crush.
Yeah, his nostrils flare way too much. I just can't tolerate it.
There is a lot of like characters where it's just like, on the one hand, it's like, well, Flynn, the kind of, what's her name?
Hit girl?
Hit girl.
Yeah.
Flynn like tells her best friend like everything, and her best friend's like,
oh yeah,
okay. Just
Right.
kind of takes it, right?
Uh-huh.
yeah.
But there is a lot of characters not telling other characters things that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Like that guy, like the deputy or whatever he is, her present day crush, not telling him anything is frustrating, because it's like, he's one of the people you probably should tell.
Right.
But I get the character logic behind it. I just kind of wish that Flynn would be like, go away, Burton, and then just talk to the guy. Right?
Right. Yeah. Like, she has no problem telling him where to go most of the time.
Right.
Just on this one subject, she's like, no, you're right.
But they probably know that he's too much of a good guy and won't let anything go, and he's going to make it way more complicated and probably end up getting people killed.
And they're also not wrong.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, like if you don't have to involve somebody in this, you probably shouldn't.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the nanobot car thing, too. Just
Right.
spoilers on that. There's a nanobot car.
When I found an invisible car I would not have called into the sheriff's office. I would have called the news. Everybody would know about that. You know what I mean?
Right. Also, those
I
things
found
were,
Wonder Woman's invisible jet.
I'm sure that wasn't like a busy road, but those things were just parked on the road. Do not
Yeah.
park your invisible car just on the road. Just don't
Dude's
do
got
it.
killer eyesight too, because he's just like stops what he's doing to see a coffee.
Is this a show that could be watched by someone with photosensitive?
First, most of it, I think. There's maybe a few
Yeah.
scenes that you probably couldn't. In the one building that she goes in with the green laser lights, that might be an issue, I think. But other than that,
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to say. Like most of it's fine. It's not particularly flashy, but there are like, I mean, listen, grain of salt. Like, be careful if that's a thing you have to worry about. There are
Right.
there like, I'll say the like London stuff, especially the night scenes, and there aren't a ton of them, but you know, there's neon and there's lights, and there are some like somewhat flashy fight sequences, but for the most part, most of it's like daytime
yeah,
well lit scenes.
which is
So you might be okay.
that's kind of weird. They have so many daytime fights, but yeah,
Well, yeah, most of it does take time. Take place during the day. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. I will say this. Ooh, actually, there's. I was gonna say, when they finally explained the jackpot, like,
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
have a weird, elaborate, like, why do they have this weird, elaborate, like, I don't know if it's a hologram show that's got weird, grotesque shapes to like. Here's
Oh,
the
yeah.
story. It's like super weirdly designed.
yeah,
That part I might caution you, because there's a part like where I don't know, it does this like there's flashy lights.
yeah.
So if they're in a cemetery and they start like explaining what happened with the jackpot, be cautious towards in that sequence.
Yeah.
Is there like a website that kind of details stuff like that? I feel like
I
there
wonder.
should be.
I would hope so. Yeah.
But
Oh, don't worry.
Oh no, I think that's a fascinating thing to discuss too.
Right.
Like, yeah. I want to say maybe there was like a disclaimer at the beginning of maybe one or two of the episodes. So
I know like Disney Plus is really good about stuff like that. I don't know Amazon Prime well enough to say whether they do put the disclaimer or not.
is it the like? I don't want to say. Oh, I guess they made it too, huh? It's not just that they're airing it. So never mind. So I was gonna say, wouldn't that be up to whoever made it? But they did make it rather
Okay.
than the distributor.
No, that is something I wonder about, because that's not anything I have experience with, but I'm curious about it. And as somebody who doesn't have experience with like photosensitive issues, various YouTube channels that take it upon themselves to like Dead Meat. We watch Dead Meat a lot. They do the kill counts and stuff like that, and they're one of the first ones I noticed that always they're all, especially since they play clips of movies, they always have the like there's a little chime and they'll have the warning and stuff before and after a scene, and that kind of drew my attention to it, and then also I've noticed the warnings on like Disney Plus and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. And don't worry about interrupting our train of thought.
we'll do it. If you don't do it, we will. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That aside, though, I mean, if that's not a concern you have, I recommend the show. So
Yeah,
far.
it's good.
Like
It's good.
we have one episode left, but man,
so many layers, and like they just when you think you've kind of caught up, then they'll add in a new wrinkle where they'll like introduce the character with the knife. I was like, whoa, this guy, what?
the character with the knife. Oh,
The most recent episode you watched.
Yeah. Yeah.
elderly. I wouldn't call him John Wick, because John Wick has a heart.
But he was like John Wick.
Terminator
Like,
in old man human flesh, like unstoppable,
Whoa.
cold-blooded, super cool character. But like, wow,
Yeah, I'm guessing I'm back.
right. And his call with his daughter and like that little like pretense
and-
about the
Yeah.
insurance company. And
Talking
at first I was
in
like,
code. It was like,
huh?
what?
And I was
yeah.
like, oh.
Right.
There's just a lot of good ideas. And I guess, I don't know, like, whatever. The author's very famous. So I'm assuming he does quality stuff. I mean, he basically created a genre that's influenced tons of stuff I've consumed, but I don't think I've ever consumed any of his actual works. William Gibson. But I guess that's like when the sign of a good adaptation is like there's lots of good ideas and be able to like pull those over and work them into it without it feeling like, I don't know.
Like,
I
if
kinda
I wasn't worried that it would ruin the show for me, I think I would read this book. Because I'm like,
Right.
how good is the book then?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
do want to read it because, so like Randy was mentioning the knife guy. There's a bit in the ER with the mom and him, and she's talking to him about other options, And I'm like, I bet they have a much longer conversation in the book. I can see that happening, and I bet it's awesome. But they probably didn't want to spend a lot of time on that when they have all this other stuff to get to. But I can just see in my head that there's so much more that we're missing because
Right.
it's not in book form.
Well, and like Wilfie as a character, just like the way he is, he seems like a book character. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
just seems like, I don't know if archetype's the right term, but the kind of quiet. I don't know what his actual title would be, but he seems like he's like a detective, right? He's like a film noir detective thrown in this like future world.
He's contemplative, I bet. Which in a book you would have all that, like he was thinking blah 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 blah. But in TV land, he's just standing there with a look on his face. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah,
He looks sad. He's got some type of tragic backstory.
yeah. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
And he makes the Flynn feel weird.
It makes
a
it feel
good
funny.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like interesting. She has that fight. They have that fight in that like butcher place, which is also, I love that, like they go to the people that make these bodies and it's a butcher shop. It's like, okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
But like he just like steps back and lets her fight. And like when she gets a good blow in, he smiles, and he only like stepped in enough to help to like, I think, grab a weapon away from one of them that was going for it, and then stood back and let her continue fighting. So I thought that was interesting. He's like, I'm not. You can do it.
Right.
That whole scene bothered me though, because I'm like, okay, you're coming to these people for information. You don't want them to be injured, really. So why wouldn't you just be like, hey, we're not going to try to hurt anybody, immediately, rather than let's get into a big fight and almost chop somebody's hand off, before it finally gets resolved.
That's how you get answers. She was careful-ish.
Yeah.
I think she made it clear that she could end the fight and didn't. Yeah, I like it. I want to know. I want to watch the last episode, and then is there going to be more?
Oh, there's got to be. I mean, I hope so.
There better
Dang
be.
it! This is not Netflix, so there's got to
Netflix us,
be.
Amazon. Don't do it.
Yeah. No, they've got money. They can make another season.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. You've got money.
Yeah.
Don't play games.
Yeah. No, they don't wrap it. I mean, this is not going to spoil anything. They don't wrap it all up in one episode.
Just listen. Just buy Westworld 2. Just buy Westworld.
Right.
No,
Why? Yeah.
they need to open a theme park that has Westworld in it.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, and then they'll make enough money they can make all the shows.
Well, I was going to say, whatever happened between the time periods, it seems would be a little disruptive, but I feel like the Westworld world could happen in this timeline, in this world.
Oh, yeah.
In my mind, they do.
Okay.
It's interesting that, and they've only kind of touched on it a little bit on the last episode we watched. Like AI is mentioned. AI takes over these. We're definitely getting the spoilers here. Takes over these bodies when they're not being drone piloted, but they don't really get into for the most part, they hadn't really got into like Westworld territory. Like, what does that mean? But they kind of a little bit do, in that the one character who turns out is AI, but you don't like isn't obviously a robot,
Yeah.
makes a call or has like feelings that they doesn't understand.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know why I come to that conclusion. It's just something deep within the neural whatever.
And and you can see that coming, like they kind of almost foreshadow that a little bit, and I don't know what they call them. You know, like in Westworld, they were like the plain robots without features or whatever,
Right.
and they were just kind of like drones or whatever. But
Call them like some with a C, like crones or crows or crons or something.
yeah, but this one, like she
Croids?
legit like puts a personality on the one, and is like, nah, you're too affable, like dial that down. And I was
Right.
like, oh, there you are.
Right, you're right. You're right. Take it down 20. Take the down 20%. You know,
Yeah.
and it makes sense that they would hit on like, especially, these are classic and kind of weirdly timely like sci-fi tropes. So it makes sense they'd hit similar territory. I wonder if the showrunners, being who they are like, we got to be careful not to like tread too familiar ground, or if they're just like it's not even a concern.
I mean, with this idea, it's so layered. Like there's multiple sci-fis going on in this show, and at first I was like, I don't know, this is almost too much. But I was like, I am so compelled by this.
I really like that there are characters that you're like, they seem like a bad person, but they're also fun and maybe a good guy. I can't tell if they're good guys or bad guys. A lot of the people, like
Yeah,
the side, I can't even tell that if the side that they're on is good or bad. Sometimes,
right.
It's very interesting. I like it. But I'm just gonna say, if I was rich and it was available to me to go to the past and mess around, I wouldn't waste my time with trying to become a billionaire, because obviously I have enough money to still be alive.
I have enough money to travel to the past.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead, I'd maybe try to, save some things.
Oh yeah.
I do remember something I wanted to say without getting to too heavy spoilers, in terms of like making a rather, like, even though he's super charismatic, a rather despicable villain out of the one guy. Talking about like the guy who is what he basically taking care of his
Family.
full spoilers on it. He's like taking out every time they create a stub, alternate timeline or whatever. He has his entire family murdered because he doesn't like the idea of there being other hens out there. I was
Oh
like,
my god!
Yeah.
I was like, what?
every
Yeah.
time, and it's like him doing it. He's like, whatever, he hires people to do it. But I was fascinated, and also like that is some top level villain stuff right there. Wow.
Think of the narcissism on that. It's like he just
Right.
can't even
Yeah.
handle there being a different version of him somewhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was wild.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, I like it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else is
Amazon
amazing?
we hit 2 back-to-back awesome shows with Amazon, and it's like, oh, I kind of hate that I love it.
I know, right? Devil's Hour, you better come back too. Don't Netflix us,
Yeah.
Amazon.
Don't you
That's
do
right.
it?
If you don't, we'll be somewhat amazed.
Okay, thank you. You know what else is amazing?
What?
Beavers.
Yes, they
Yeah.
are. I like their tails.
So beavers are taking over the North American tundra. So as it gets warmer from climate change and whatnot, there's woody plants that are growing along the rivers and the streams, and those are perfect beaver habitats. So they're going up there and they start making dams and clogging up the rivers, and then they turn into these ponds, and that's good for biodiversity and whatnot. But it's also sitting water holds heat better than land, and like the streams and rivers, that's just shallow water that's running away real quick. The ponds are deeper and bigger, so they're heating it up much more. They're, holding that warmth there in the area, which is melting more permafrost, releasing more methane and carbon into the air, and keep continuing the warming cycle. So that's kind of stinks. And the biggest thing though is that since beavers first appeared in the Arctic in the 1980s, the ponds have more than doubled. So there's satellite images that show at least 11,000 beaver ponds through Alaska. And the researchers that were looking at that were just looking for subtle shifts in the tundra to see how much global warming was affecting it. And they were like shocked at how fast and how far the changes in the landscape had gone. They like it had never really occurred to them, but they said that other than humans, this is the biggest change that they've ever seen an animal make in the environment.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're pretty sure that soon the tundra will be more like a boreal forest than a tundra anymore. So
ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, you can see it from space. So
it's
yeah,
the beavers' fault. Beavers caused the jackpot. We got to take it off.
Well, all the trees are stubs because beavers eat trees, right?
they do.
That took me by surprise. That was unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were cute.
Oh, they are cute, and
They're evil.
they're not doing anything wrong. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
If we hadn't let the planet get so warm that the tundra was already melting, they wouldn't be up there in the first place.
Right.
Yeah. In a decade or so, there's going to be a very controversial subreddit called "The Beavers Did Nothing Wrong."
Yeah, right.
It's going to get banned for.
First, the beavers came for our.
Oh no! Okay. Okay.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
First, they came for our tundras, and we didn't say anything.
Right. Woo.
I did not see this episode taking that kind of turn. Wow. Well, hey everybody, it's 2023. Punch a beaver. Don't do that.
There it is. There's the subreddit right there.
Punch a beaver. All right. Well, hey Jesse, you got anything exciting coming up?
No, nothing more exciting than that. No.
Okay.
The beaver apocalypse.
Beaver apocalypse. Oh man, there's a beaver with like a black goatee.
No. It's like the Mirrorverse goatee.
Yeah, exactly. All right. It's like, oh yes, all our plans. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. You can check out more at grawlixpodcast.com. I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after. Sometime in the next couple episodes, we'll be talking about Doctor Who. We should probably mention this. We will be discussing The Runaway Bride, which I believe was the Christmas special for Series 2. I'll say series to appease the British.
For Doctor Who, it's not the Julia Roberts movie. That piece of crap.
Yeah.
And Partners in Crime, whatever, Series 4, Episode 1. So basically the first two Donna Noble companion episodes. Donna Noble as companion for Doctor Who. Because we're doing this all year. We're gonna do this all year, every month. We're gonna focus on some of that to get ready for the 60th anniversary. Because that's how much Doctor Who we have to work with. We have to stretch out a season for a year just to get excited. just
to keep that hype train running.
Yep. So yeah, we'll be doing that in a couple coming up weeks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
All right.
I'll try.
Enjoy your time on Earth before the beavers get you.
Living your best life for now.